As you go through this activity, activity 3 that begins on page 196, one thing you'll be doing is looking at tables of values, and then you're going to be deciding if the relationship is linear. So does it increase by a constant amount so that the graph looks like a line? Another thing you're going to be practicing is identifying the slope of a linear relationship, and you're also going to be writing linear equations both in point slope form and slope intercept form, two forms that you'll be thinking about later in this tutorial. So first things first, what we're doing is you're going to be looking at these two tables. And this part here is just like a shortcut that's not really essential, because you can determine whether a relationship is linear without taking this shortcut. But I'll explain a little bit what the shortcut is all about. So what the shortcut is saying is that if you look at the table's input column, so we sometimes will call this the X values, here it's N. So if you're looking at the input values and you see that the numbers are consecutive, which means they're integers that are right next to each other on the number line, like 1 and 2. If all of the input values are consecutive, from 1 to 2 is a 1, from 2 to 3 is 1 step, from 3 to 4 is 1 step. If all of the numbers are consecutive, one to the next, then you don't have to worry about this left-hand column anymore, and you can just calculate the difference of the second column, the output values. And so in this case, since these numbers are all consecutive, we can just look at this column. And if you look from 2 to 6, that's going up by 4. From 6 to 10 is also going up by 4, or increasing by 4. And from 10 to 14, that's also increasing by 4. So every time that our X value increased by 1, our Y value, or our output value, increased by 4. This means that the slope of this linear equation is 4 over 1, because it's the change in Y over the change in X. And if you simplify 4 divided by 1, that comes out to 4. So 4 is the slope of this linear equation. And in this exercise, it's actually not asking us to calculate the slope. It's only asking us to determine if the relationship is linear. So in this case, the answer is yes, because it increases or decreases by a constant amount. For every one change in the horizontal axis, we get the same change on the vertical axis. So one horizontal change is accompanied by 4 vertical changes. It's very consistent. Now let's do the same here. These, again, if you look at these numbers, this is increasing by 1, this is increasing by 1, this is increasing by 1, which tells us that we can just look to figure out if it's linear, we can just look at the output column. So from -2 to 2, that's an increase of 4, because it's 2 steps to get from -2 to 0, and then another 2 steps to get from 0 to 2, so that's 4 steps total. From 2 to 6 is also an increase of 4, and from 6 to 10 is also an increase of 4. So once again, we have vertical change over horizontal change, and these are all changing by 1. And that simplifies to a slope of 4. And yes, since there's a consistent number here, the relationship is linear. Now next, you're going down here. Now we've already answered this question. What's the difference in the left table? Well, the first difference is positive 4. It's a difference of 4. The difference in the first difference in the, oh, this should say right. This should say right. This is also 4. It increased by 4 each time. So now what you're doing here is there are two people. There's Parks and Eva Kate. And they agree that this table represents a linear relationship because they noticed that these are all increasing by 1. So we have a consistent increase over here. And they also noticed that there is a consistent decrease here. It's going down by 5. So they noticed that 22 minus 17 is 5, 17 minus 12 is 5, 12 minus 7 is 5. So they agree on that. What they disagree on is that Parks says that the slope is 5. Because when they did the subtraction, they got this answer of 5 each time. Eva Kate says that the slope is negative 5. So what you're doing is you're deciding who is correct about the slope of this line. Is the slope 5 or negative 5? And if you're not sure, you could go to Desmos and you could graph this table, these 4 points, and you could see. So what you're doing here is you are deciding who is correct, Parks or Eva Kate, and then you are explaining your thinking. So that is everything you need to know to successfully complete and understand everything on page 196. Thank you.